Is Obama a socialist? Well, you know, on the face of it, it's crazy. It's absurd. There's nothing about this man that has been or is likely to be socialist. It's really more interesting to wonder how come this question could even arise in our culture than it is to answer it. But because a lot of people are taking it seriously, let's give it the answer it deserves. Traditionally, socialists have believed one thing, perhaps above all others, that we shouldn't have private enterprise, that instead the government should take over producing goods and services, do it for the people as a whole, and not allow individual corporations to do that. Let's see, has Obama done that? Well, let's take a major example. We've just had a major meltdown of our entire banking system. It has now been shown that banks made loans they shouldn't have, gave credit they never should have, speculated in arcane instruments like credit default swaps that we can't even understand, and made trillions of dollars worth of mistakes. You might have imagined Obama, if he were a socialist, to have come in there and said, okay, private enterprise in banking is a disaster for the United States, and we're going to have a government banking sector instead. He did no such thing. In his bank reform and in all of his policies, he has rescued private banks. He has merged them together so they can be more effective private enterprises. Everything he has done has been to support, reinstate, and strengthen private enterprise. He hasn't even proposed a government bank. So clearly, there's no socialist there. The second thing most socialists in the history of socialism have ever advocated has been planning instead of letting the market decide. Instead of letting companies and people buy and sell in markets, the government is going to plan what gets produced, how it gets produced, and who gets it when it's finished being produced. Well, let's take another example. We now have a market system in which 15 million people have no work. Now, you might say that if there's a market system that deprives 15 million people of work and deprives the rest of us of all that they could produce if they were working, that he, were he a socialist, would have come in and said, okay, I'm going to take care of this problem. I'm going to have the government hire these people, plan what they produce, and distribute the products among the people of America so that we have no more unemployment. That would have been a person who didn't pay attention to the market or respect it. Did Mr. Obama do that? Nothing of the sort. All that Obama has done about the unemployment problem is provide purchases of the government, by the government, of private enterprise products, subsidies, stimulus, to get private employers to hire workers. And when the private employers failed to do that, the government didn't say, boo. This is not a person who doesn't respect the market. This is a person whose priority is the market. So the fact of the matter is, Obama hasn't behaved like a socialist, and the question is absurd. Last point. The reason he gets called this is simple. Businesses are afraid of having the government compete with them. They're afraid of what it might mean if the government went into business, hired people, and maybe ran the businesses differently from the way private enterprises do, giving workers a real say in what goes on, giving workers a real commitment not to have the absurdity of unemployment. That's why they don't want the government to do anything other than come in, rescue the private enterprise, and then get out. And raising this crazy notion about Obama being a socialist is a way to line up people angry about the economy to be against the government rather than against the businesses who brought us into this mess. It's a phony issue. Don't be misled by it.